America the Beautiful. It all started when some dudes were like, "Bye, England!" and wrote this thing called the Constitution. So when they sent the Constitution out to the states, they wanted it approved really badly, and the states were like, "Hey, we want a Bill of Rights!" And everyone was like, "Oh, okay, I guess so." So they wrote the Bill of Rights, which included the 14th Amendment, which is all about equal protection rights. So, in 1964, discrimination became illegal based on sexual orientation and gender identity. So, you might be asking me, Alex, why does any of this matter?
In other places, there were reports of homosexual men who had some strange types of cancers and pneumonia. And at the end of 1982, there were reports that it had been seen in infants, and also there was some discussion about it was in the blood bank. But 1983 was really the big year. This was in the headlines, and that was the year that the real phobia about AIDS began, because
Going back to the roots of the LGBT rights movement, we see the major event that started it all, Stonewall. Stonewall Inn was a gay bar in Greenwich Village which was raided by police in 1969 because it was thought to be mafia-owned. Thus, the famous riot began, and it went on for 6 days. Who started it? It is said that drag queens and butch lesbians made the first confrontations with police due to laws stating that not wearing enough clothes appropriate to their gender was grounds for arrest and a raid. In response to the Stonewall riots' one-year anniversary, numerous LGBT rights groups were formed in major cities across America and had large marches to mark the historical event. These marches, in turn, inspired our modern pride parades that occur every year throughout the nation. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a USA military policy adopted in 1993. This policy referred to closeted homosexuals and bisexuals in the military, and its purpose was to lessen the amount of harassment and discrimination, but in doing so, it barred those who were openly gay to join the military. Flashing back to today, in America, roughly 4.5 people are part of the LGBTQA community, according to Gallup's estimate in 2017. That's about 14 million people in the USA alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, our troops do not discriminate. The president dared to question the patriotism of our military. And in doing so, he questioned our nation's greatest strength, its greatness and its goodness. But more than that, with a haphazard and hateful policy shift, he has threatened not only the livelihoods of thousands of service members and their families around the world, but called into question some of our deepest values as well. And he didn't even have the courage to look them in the eye.
Do you want to talk about the kind of hate and discrimination that you faced during high school, or when you would have been in high school, like after you came out?
When I was in like freshman year and sophomore year, because I believe I was still in high school in my sophomore year, but I'm really just not sure. I kind of just disassociated for that entire point of my life. It was a lot more like mental torture than it was physical, but that still also happened. You know, people would constantly try and make me feel bad about myself. You know, I sat alone at lunch. It's actually, for my freshman year, I didn't even go to the lunchroom. I just took lunch in the library because I didn't want to deal with people looking at me. But it didn't stop, you know? It's like, once I stopped talking, people would, like, you know, I would get pushed down the stairs, or if we were riding bikes in gym classes, people would run their bikes into me. There were people who egged my house. I had somebody who was, like, taking pictures of my car, my house, my dogs, saying, like, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna, like, effing kill you. You know, it was bad, and I would, you know, you can't report anything. Nobody cares. Nobody really was there for me. Nobody was looking out for me. Yeah. And it didn't matter what I did. People always thought that I was, like, taking the easy way out by not going to school and not, like, facing my fears, but people don't understand what kind of lasting impact that has. I'm still afraid to talk to people. Mm-hmm. I'm still afraid to make lasting connections with people because I'm afraid they have ulterior motives.
We talked about his mom walking him down the aisle. We talked about why he decided to get married after living with Kurt for so long. We talked about how he got engaged. We just chit-chatted for a while, and Rob said, "Would you recommend another florist?" And I said, "Sure." He went home and told his partner Kurt, put something on Facebook that was simply, "She has the right to her beliefs, but she hurt our feelings." And it went.
Some Americans feel that the 14th Amendment forces them to accept LGBTQ members and think that they have become the minority. What the 14th Amendment truly shows is what it means to be an American, by showing that love will always win because it's a part of the American dream. Whether you're a man, a woman, or non-binary, whether you're straight, gay, pan, or bi, you are an American.
It's fine.
So we're gonna cut.
And we'll just snip that with this out. It's fine.